Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Mandy, my husband Ben, in case you missed it in any of the other videos. Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween! Whoa.
Spooky.
No.
So, Halloween kind of snuck up on us this year.
No, it didn't.
It snuck up on me. It's been busy.
We've been very busy. We've been very fortunate to be very busy.
Yeah,
And having a great time.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah, that was complaining. I was complaining about being busy. So, I wanted to do something small for Halloween. We just didn't have the time to do something big. I also wanted to do something big because YouTube, if I want anyone to view it, kind of has to be big.
Gotta go over the top, man. It's YouTube.
Right? But we didn't have time for big, so I wanted to do something small.
We talked and chit-chatted, and we settled on
The all-American classic, Sleepy Hollow.
Don't lose your head.
The fun thing about Sleepy Hollow is we get to do a resin pour, which always holds some drama. And the thing that I like most about the mythology is that ghosts can't cross running water. So as long as the water looks like it is streaming and moving, ghosts can't cross it, and that is how Ichabod gets away, ultimately.
So, I want to offer terrain tip number 1 here. As you can see, I've got some nice pieces of styrofoam cut out, and I'm going to put them on my base plate, which is just an MDF plate. But if you look really closely, you'll see that the styrofoam pieces wound up being just a little bit too small. So, terrain tip number 1 is cut your styrofoam a little bit large and glue it down to your base first, and then cut around the edges of your base with either a knife or a hot wire. With the layout, with the size and shape that we were working with, if we'd done a covered bridge, it would have, hidden one of the figures from sight no matter where you were looking at it, and it just wouldn't have worked. So I laid down a bunch of foam, and I was looking at, and I decided we needed one side higher and do one side lower so you get a little bit of that 2-level effect with a path going down the center and points for anybody who gets that reference. And then I broke out my sculpt mold. Terrain tip number 2. You don't always need, and you don't usually want, your sculpt mold to be really, really smooth when you're doing landforms. The ground, rocks in general, is very uneven and jagged and irregular, so put on your sculpt mold relatively thick, and then stab or chop some sort of implement into the soft, wet sculpt mold to get interesting textures. Then once I had all the base work, the basic land shape work done, I had to work out a bridge. I never built a bridge before, but I was going to get over it. So I started brick by brick building this bridge. And
because he has to do things in the hardest way possible.
And you can see how well that's turning out. And it was ugly.
And that was when I found it, and I saw what he was actually doing. And I was not pleased.
For terrain tip number 3, this one's super easy. Don't build bridges this way.
So we pulled that off and went to bridge version 2.
Bridge version 2, where I told him to use the foam roller and make it much easier and get the shape better, and yeah, that one works. It's not perfect,
It does look much better, yes.
but that one works. I can accept that one.
And on the upside, we'll be keeping the other bridge to use as a rickety, broken down bridge somewhere. It'll work. It'll work.
Then we got into an argument about the posts on the bridge.
Really? You're going to throw me under the bus that bad?
I am throwing you under the bus that bad. Because you know what? They need to hear it because they do it too.
Go right ahead.
His posts did not line up. And they were kind of all over the place. Yeah, they were there, but they weren't centered. It looked completely unprofessional and, well, half-assed.
She leaned on me. She made me do better.
I knew he could do better. I knew he could. And I said, why don't you just cut the foam here and then it'll all line up and it'll all work. And he said, I am not good enough. And I wouldn't accept that. I wouldn't even let him finish the statement. It was instantly, no, 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 because he is good enough. And then he tried changing it to, I'm not good enough to do it in the time frame we have. 10 minutes later, he was apologizing to me and saying I was right.
She usually is.
I didn't say it.
So, back on track. After I got the bridge down and in place, we coated the ground with homemade texture paste. The recipe for this I originally found from Boylai Hobby. We'll link to him in the comments. I really like his stuff. Really cool, wild Imaginary West. So I made up some texture paste with his recipe, and I forgot the Mod Podge, which is what thickens it up and makes it not all runny and splooge all over. Didn't realize that until this morning.
I started painting up the figures.
Yes, you did.
And coming up with the color scheme and the look.
Spooky.
Yes, I wanted a spooky look. And I wanted a somewhat unique look. And I wanted the whole piece to feel cohesive. So I went with a global shadow and highlight. If you don't know what that is, we'll put a link to our video in the description below on Finding Color, where I talk about global highlights and shadows. We also 3D printed some of the other elements, the trees and things like that. And the color scheme I decided on was a purplish brown shadow with a cold blue highlight to also enhance and make it look like it is actually nighttime.
and
Spooky.
That was what I decided on the color scheme, and I got to painting. Yeah. We're back to you. They've heard me talk about painting a million times. They've seen me paint a million times. We're mostly do painting. Your stuff is the new and interesting stuff here.
fair enough.
So, and guys, I finally got him to do a video. This was 4 times. 4 times he's been on the schedule as a video for his terrain or basing for him. And he has let me down every time, and I had to pull out a video to get one done.
Put in all the 3D printed tree elements, and tick, 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 waited for it all to dry. Went to bed that night. Came back the next day, put down the foliage and the flock. Checked out her finished product painted figures. So that just left.
Painting! No. I painted, then we put some flock on, and the flock on the trees. And then I painted again when that dried. And then we put down some more flock and foliage. You gotta give them the full steps, the right order. How are we gonna help them make cool stuff if we're not even giving them the right order?
They're gonna watch the order.
Terrain tip number 4, my last one for this video. Try ahead of time to set out the order of operations, the steps you want to accomplish, and what order you think things need to be put down in. That's where I fall down most frequently. I wind up getting ahead of myself and then having to go back and do something, redo a number of steps because something was supposed to go underneath. So just try and be familiar with the order of operations and how you want things to go.
So we poured the resin. Well,
Oh,
we're going to pour the resin tonight. I'll let you know if there's any disasters.
There's going to be disasters.
All in all, it's going to turn out great.
There's going to be disasters. We've had at least 10 so far with this build alone.
And in the end, we have a fantastic Halloween display for you. We do.
We haven't done it yet.
We're going to.
Yeah, we're going to.
I figure, I'm recording this in hope that I won't have to record it again and tell them about the build being a complete disaster because I can't pour the resin.
They're hoping for the complete disaster. We really appreciate you watching and would love to hear from you. Let us know what you did for Halloween. If you did anything special, let us know what you thought. If there was anything that we could have done better, any secret tricks to it.
Oh, lots of things.
If you would like to support us and what we do, all the ways are down below in the comments. We've got the...
Yeah, we're not gonna bother you with a long list. You can go look.
Hope you're having a fabulous Halloween, and we'll see you next time. Till then,
Have fun.
and keep creating.
Spooky.